Well, let's welcome Katie.
Hello, Sid.
Hello, Katie. How are you?
I'm doing well.
It's a wonderful, wonderful thing to have you share your thoughts and your mindfulness with us and your journey. Great to have you.
Thank you. The pleasure's all mine.
I believe last time we were on, you were on one of the wake-up calls, and you had some intriguing questions that I thought uh, worth the exploration even further. Now, it may be that you have other things you want to talk about today, but we'll get to it. Um, so, what do you think about this planning trap? Does that make sense to you?
It absolutely does. I learned at a very young age that life is full of, well, at least my life anyway, was chaos and a lot of unexpected turns. The way that I plan is more about maybe milestones, and it's sort of a discovery process to get to each one of those milestones.
Wonderful, wonderful. Do you tell me about your business? Let's take 3 to 5 minutes or something really cool. Make it idiot proof, so I can understand it. And let's dive in. Let's see how we can explore things together.
All right, thank you. So the business is called Elikonas. That's based in sort of Greek mythology and the nine muses and how they studied on Mount Elikonas. And the business is about helping anyone that needs to upskill in order to get from an A to a B, but college may not be the way, or there's just a lot of ways to learn things today, and there's no way to document that to include it somewhere. So Eliconis is about building a an educational profile, is what I'm calling that, for people that are trying to show that they are learning things and building their skills.
So let me understand. Are you providing the educational or the skills to people, or are you creating a profile for them? It's a LinkedIn that says, "Hey, I've accomplished these things, and I'm different than because I don't have necessarily a certificate." Which one is it? What is the end goal in your?
Yeah, so we're it's a little bit like LinkedIn, but for education. So we're not providing any of the training content that is already out there. The world has so much to offer to learn. We're giving people ownership of what they learn so that they can go in, build a plan, think, I want to do this or that, and we'll have an AI built in to say, well, in order to get there, we think you need to learn these things, and here are some suggestions, something to search for. They go and find those classes, they add it to their profile, they track their
So are
progress.
you doing life coaching in terms of, hey, you need to do these things? I'm still not clear about the value. If I want to come in, what do I get? An advice of what I should learn? A place where I can point people to and see, you see, I'm a great guy. Look at my resume over here on a LinkedIn type of a thing. I'm not sure what value do I get when I'm on a part of your community.
Yeah, it is a community and an ecosystem. So it's a social network in a sense. You build a social network to help encourage you, give you advice. It's a place where you catalog all your learning, and you can essentially put together a sort of degree. It might come from a college, but it might come from a mix and match of anything out there. We're talking things like trade programs, learning the trades like plumbing and electric things. There's boot camps we could go to. There are local learning events or projects that teach you something. All of those things should count for something. A lot of people may not do them because they want something more official. They're taught that a degree in college is the only thing that really counts in terms of education, and I'm not seeing that. I'm not seeing that.
So, Katie, just as a side note, I am a believer that our educational system is completely broken. Here's the problem. We try to put stuff in people's mind, like we're pouring water into somebody's, vase.
Yeah.
And we train people on processes. You start here, you do this. Life is a factory that you are this, you do this. So the education process is designed uh, to put people in a framework that is understandable to others. That I am one of these. And if you notice people when they are at a networking session say, I'm an engineer, I'm a doctor, I am a attorney, I am a plumber, I am a, but is that really who we are? I don't think so. We're a lot more than our jobs, but that's the way the education system is based on skills, not necessarily based on skillfulness, which is pulling all of who we are together. So I agree with the premise that and you could see a lot of people now, the younger people are oh, I quit my school. I was looking at the talking to a friend of mine. Actually, he is on one of our expert circles that's coming up next week. Mosen Wazami, who was part of the Grok company, sold, I think, for $20 billion to NVIDIA. And the guy who was running that, the CEO, really didn't have any formal education. Isn't, he went to Google without an education, but the problem is that we fall in love with those kind of, hey, there's one in a million or in many millions that does that. And we fall in love with that idea, and sometimes we lose the thing that, hey, that guy probably reads 10 books a month, like Bill Gates, or others that we use as examples are highly effective critical thinkers who are consuming and learning all the time. So I agree with with the premise, but are you trying to create a certificate for them? How do you plan to, again, who is paying for this is one question.
Mhm.
Why would they come is the other question. And what do you give them when they come is the other question. Because I can go on internet, I can go to AI and say, hey, I love to be doing this stuff, but what should I read? And I can put it on my resume on LinkedIn. What is it that additionally you are providing me?
Well, LinkedIn, it shows some work history, but what you actually learn, people can fill things in. What we're trying to do is give people some sort of credential. They get a credential from this, they plan it, but it's based on what you just talked about planning. It doesn't the way college happens doesn't fit everybody's lifestyle. It doesn't fit what they're trying to do in life, maybe. So to give them something that counts, something that they own, they can figure out for themselves and make it work. That and we're reaching out to the people that it's a new audience. It's a bigger audience than just the people who already have some exposure to school. Let me back up a little bit into my story, and that's I came out of a community where people just didn't go to college. I was the first one to do that in generations. Um, I had a kid in high school, and for a while I had to take care of that baby. I couldn't go straight to college, and when I did go to college, it was I took some classes here. I had to go back to work. It was not a straight path forward. Eventually, I managed to leverage a lot of resources that were available from the government to help me get through all of that. And I did it. And I thought it was something that it was something I was just supposed to check off the list. That's what they told me. You have to do this. And I did that. But when I went back to my roots, I found that people don't have that kind of access. Even if they can get it paid for, they don't have the mindset. They don't have the grades. There's such a barrier to get into classes that they just couldn't even, it's not even for them. It doesn't even, it's a dream, right? A dream that's for somebody else, not for them. And I want to reach those people and say that you don't necessarily, you know, you don't have to go to college to be smart, because the people that I grew that I didn't grow up with them, I that are part of my roots, they're very smart people. They're very innovative. But they are focused on survival, day by day survival. So elevating themselves to the next level just doesn't come natural to them. They are not sure how to get there. And I want to make that possible for them. And I want
So,
to give
so,
them
so, so
credentials.
that is a powerful history in terms of the reasons that you do that. And I can see that there is a need for maybe, I mean, you mentioned the capabilities and government resources and other resources that could be available to them that they don't really know how to get to. So now this changed by the way, the dynamics of what you started off with. So uh, let me ask you one thing. In this journey, what is the biggest founder dilemma? What is the dilemma that you have? What is the thing that is best for us to try to unfold in the next 15, 20 minutes or so?
My biggest dilemma throughout this whole process was, how do I bring this mission to life, make this available to the world, um, without sacrificing that mission as we look to satisfying all the stakeholders, the investors. A while back, I realized that I couldn't. People keep telling me to bootstrap it, but I'm a single mom. I was working full time. There was no way to work on this while I was working. Um, and so I need I need an income. I need money to be able to build it and to get it out there to market it to people. And the only way, at least not the only way, it's been a learning process over the last 6 months that there are lots of different ways to help fund this idea and this growth. But how do I make sure that the mission stays intact and that it doesn't become about making money? It's going to make money. There's four long term, there's four different revenue streams that I see for that. And yet, I just want to make sure that we're serving the people that I'm creating it for.
Very, very, very good dilemma to dive into. Not a good dilemma to have, but a good dilemma to dive into. But it's a real dilemma. Here's the thing. We have a lot of folks with a lot of good ideas, but the gap between, hey, here's an idea, and I can even on a piece of paper do this, but it's that capabilities and the realities of life. Look, I've got to pay for my kid. I've got to pay for milk and cookies. I got to eat. And it doesn't matter how great. And, sometimes when you're 20 years old or 23 years old or 22 years old and six of you, sleep in the same room and all of that, it becomes feasible and the risks are a lot lower from a family side. So this is one that a lot of early stage entrepreneurs face. Now we have this thing that has been, I think, marketed uh, by a lot of Silicon Valley people and because we like heroes, you know. Uh, but we don't. Let me give you a statistics. Out of 1,000 companies that read that are looking for money, one gets money. Not enough, though. Gets maybe a little money. Out of 1,000 of them that get money, one succeeds. So that's one in a million. And the one that succeeds, here's the formula. 50% of the ones that succeed really, 50% of the ones that succeed really make an equivalent of what they invested in. So they're not making $1 trillion. Only 3 or 4% of them really are these people that you see on billboards and they come on these podcasts and stuff and say, hey, look at me, I'm all that and a bag of chips. Very little. So the reality of life is that road. the probability is very low. Now, so what are we supposed to do? We're supposed to increase the probability of success. Increase the probability of success to a point where there is a tilting in one direction or another direction. Now, you said, how can I be sure that, so let's talk about this is a planning thing. How can I be sure that the mission is not compromised to be about money? Well, who's in charge? You're in charge.
Until
So,
I came across, I'm learning the world of the startup economy, and I came across the exit strategy part of it. And I thought,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah. So here's the thing. So if you're not looking for an exit, you're not a venture capital or early stage investment because here's the thing, these people that make investments in companies like you, their entire livelihood, the way they make money is not a profit, I get, X dollars a month or whatever. The way they make money is to have an exit. Now it's an IPO or a sale or a transaction, something. So if if that doesn't fit, then that's not the path to pursue. Doesn't matter. And so people say, oh, if you find somebody who falls in love with you, they may. But hey, this is like going to an ocean of 10,000 people, 100,000 people to find love. That doesn't work that way. It's like visiting every bar on every corner in every street to do, can I find somebody who fall in love with me? Right? So that path is not, if you are, but you know, a lot of companies, 90 some percent, 95, 98%, I don't exactly remember the numbers now. It's above 90% of companies are not venture capital invested, right? And they are great lifestyle businesses, meaning that you have something that you do, it can make a living, it can make lots of money, but it's not dependent on somebody else's interference. Now, do you have to compromise at places where to make money? I'm telling you, you do. Why? Not because, I mean, the uncompromising position would be I give people my services at zero cost, but you have to pay for the milk and cookies. So the minute you say that, you've already compromised.
right.
Okay? So your question is, how much do I want to compromise? It's
Yes,
not a matter of do I want to compromise because you have to. You have to ask people to give you something in order for you to be able to survive. If you're not there, then there's no value being created by you, right? So
right,
let's go back to your situation. I think, and this may not be something you wanted to hear from me, but I think you have something interesting. I think there would be a population that would be interested in jumping on board and creating the community. There's a lot of network power to it that if I'm doing that and if my friends do that and if I penetrate in a community that has this issue, there will be a lot of collaborations that could come out of it. So it has a networking effect, as the business people would call it. And the population is high. So, but the first thing is to prove that there is a product market fit. Now, what I heard was a confusion in what actually the product is. Towards the end, you began to, and I think maybe as you talk to investors or you talk to people, they give you different things. So you're trying to find, okay, so what is the best way for me to describe what it is? I would say at the end, when you describe your own story, you began to really crystallize what that value proposition is. It's not a LinkedIn. It's not because I have something. It's because I have a person, an individual in mind who does not have all of that and needs to get from here to here. And if I can provide the right support and the right structure and the right channels, that person would go from here to here. Now, do people out there understand what the capabilities are? Well, that's the job of this person to prove who it's not your job. It's
right.
not your job. It's their job that as they evolve and they're better and they have more capabilities, they can evolve in their own life and they can provide more value to their community and they can be more effective at their jobs. They can create more businesses. So I think the value proposition that you have needs to be a little more solidified into something that's not satisfying a venture deal or a this deal or a that deal. It has to be by itself. And the best way to do it is to validate it. Meaning, and this is, people say bootstrap it. Here's the thing: you can create Facebook groups or Instagram groups or whatever, and begin with the people you know and the communities that there are, and you get to 5 people or 10 people. Validate what you have. Validate what you have. That's one. Two, I think there are a lot of grants that you can tap into. And given your background, and you explained to me that you use all these different, you're able to do it. You're savvy enough to find those things. So this is the capability thing that I'm saying. What do you have? You have that capability. Don't put that aside and become the CEO who's trying to knock on every door and raise money. That's a different ball game. You have other capabilities that are actually pretty damn important, and it fits the community that you want to be serving. Right? So what I would do is I would begin to validate. And if I validate and I have these channels that I can put people to in, if you have, I don't know, 5,000, 2,000, 1,000 people that have gone through this and you've helped them, and you don't need to necessarily quit your job or do anything. You're just pulling these communities. You don't need to build any technologies. You don't need to. You need a series of resources and you need a series of places, and you could do that. If you can have that community, now you may have, and you can qualify for grants. At that point, then you can potentially, if you need to, scale it to, I don't know, I want to do this at global level. I want to do this not in my town. I want to do it in every town, in every county, in every, state. Then, yeah, you may have a need for money, but the validation of what you are providing and what the income is could get you to be investable. At that point, the decision is yours of what you're compromising for what. Anyways, you have to realize that you're already compromising by saying it's a business. I have to make a living. And that's okay. And that's okay. People see this. I think a lot of times we've been boxed into these things that if you're doing business, you're a shyster. No. If you're delivering value to people, if I'm thirsty and you have water and you give me water, are you a shyster, or have you given something that has value to me? If you're giving me something value, you deserve in exchange to get something back. And that's okay. There's no crime in it. This is not against humanity. This is not we are not all we're not all them, we're not all the same, we're not Elon Musk. It's not about $1 trillion in our bank account. That's the illusion that we've got the entrepreneurship mixed in. If you're creating value, there will be an exchange and they will realize that value. If you're not, you don't have a business. Does that all make sense, or is it too convoluted or academic?
No, that makes total sense. It's the process that I've been going through in the last 6 months that it resonates.
Can I make a suggestion? Don't
Absolutely.
don't plan too much. Jump right into it. Tomorrow morning, you've got these people. You know the 6 places what they can do. Tomorrow morning, go ahead and create a Facebook group. Invite people in. Let's see how it unfolds. You will know a lot more. If you do that and in 2 months or in a month, you have 10,000 followers and people are engaging, guess what? Your pitch, when you come here today, the next time you go someplace else and you say, I have 10,000 people that I have helped, your story would be completely different. There's, this is the planning trap of, for the past 6 months I'm traveling. Jump right into it. You could do that with minimal thing. You've experienced it, you know how to do it, you have the capabilities that we just talked about.
That's what I'm working on.
Okay. So here's the thing. You and I, as a part of the hot seat, have you can also book some time with me to drill down deeper whenever you like. So you've got my calendar, they'll give you my calendar. And how about we make a promise together? Why don't you book a time in 2 weeks? And let's see if we could get you from planning to doing.
Okay.
Does that
Great.
work?
That works for me.
Okay. And then we're going to come back and report to all these people online that says, see, look at Katie Bloom.
Thank you.
All right. It's been a pleasure. I just want to thank you for your time and sharing your journey and your thoughtfulness with us. I'm also honored by all of those folks online who have become our learning partners and joining today. Until next time, I hope you plan for the right reasons. Plan to increase your mindfulness, to learn, plan to gain competency and confidence to act. And then stand ready to exercise the courage to change the plan as you face reality. All right?
All right.
Until next time, thanks for being here.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
It's time to evolve. Download the app by scanning the QR code and join the community that thrives on growth.